Next on our agenda is Tom Woolf from Montana Fish and Wildlife and Parks to speak about the benefits and the challenges of third-party inspection programs. Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate Pennoir and the province bringing me in to talk about this issue. Great agenda so far. A lot of great information, and great to see people in the room talking about this issue, because we all are leaning on each other. I'm going to be talking about partnerships specific to watercraft inspection in Montana, but more broadly, none of us can do this alone. We are all working together on this issue. We all have programs with our different nuances and challenges, but we're all pushing in the same direction, which is outstanding. So in Montana, well, I guess I'll back up a little bit. So I did spend 10 years working for Lloyd back in the day in Idaho. And early on with that program in Idaho, we started leaning on partnerships for the implementation of watercraft inspection in the field. So working with local conservation districts, counties, local municipalities to put the watercraft inspection program on the ground. And I've taken that to Montana as that program began to grow in 2017 when mussels were detected in the state. Really pushing the responsibility of managing these stations to local communities, because there was so much interest in the issue out there. People were interested, they wanted to be involved, they wanted skin in the game. So fortunately, because of Montana law, that was easy to do. And so most of the watercraft inspection programs in the state of Montana now are operated by partners, either soil and water conservation districts, tribes, counties, folks in their local community, pulling off something that we couldn't do at the state level just because we don't have those local connections like those folks do. So working with partners, they leverage those local relationships. Through the state of Montana, we can delegate that mandatory inspection authority. So we have an MOU with these entities and can make those inspections through those partners required by law. Which is a great thing. We provide the training, we provide materials and things like that, but partners are responsible for the implementation on the ground. The core program is managed by the state. So I manage watercraft inspection, early detection, rapid response preparedness, outreach and education for the state of Montana. But a lot of work is done through partnerships and other agencies and groups on the ground out there. But at least because Fish, Wildlife, and Parks is that core and does have that statutory authority, we have a consistent message. And then we push that out to partners so that that's consistent statewide. I think I screwed something up. Oh, there we are. So again, prevention, early detection, and outreach and education all runs through my shop, but then that's pushed out to partners for delivery out in the field. And I'm going to focus on the watercraft inspection side. Lots of partners, so tribes, conservation districts, non-government organizations, our federal partners, all working together in Montana, pushing in the same direction with the same messages. Also to note, and this is one of the reasons why there's so much interest in the issue in Montana, the economic cost of these things, if they show up, is going to be significant. We already talked about that a little bit. University of Montana did an analysis or an assessment for the state of Montana, $234 million annual impact in, I think this was 2020 or something like that, old values, old dollars. So it's going to be a lot. We would expect those impacts to be a heck of a lot more now to hydroelectric power generation, irrigated agriculture, recreation. Once these things show up, the cost of doing business changes, and we need to be prepared to assimilate those costs if these things show up. But also, it speaks to the value of prevention. So every year we keep these things out, we defer that cost to the economy of Montana and the region, which is an effort that's worth investing in my opinion. So watercraft inspection program in Montana, we have 17 Fish, Wildlife, and Parks funded watercraft inspection stations. There's also several that aren't funded by the state through Park Service with Glacier National Park, Yellowstone National Park. The city of Whitefish manages a station that they fund independently. And we have an NGO, a non-governmental organization, the Swan Lakers, do inspections at their water body because they really care. They're all volunteers, which is incredible. But we provide the training, we provide materials for them, but at least those three stations are funded on their own. Last year we did over 125,000 inspections, intercepted 38 mussel-fouled vessels. 21 of those 38 were destined to Montana, but others were going to BC, Washington, Oregon, other places in the West. And 600 fouled with weeds. So we do see we do have Eurasian water milfoil in the state of Montana. We do not have mussels. So we do see things like milfoil moving around within the state on boats. We also have mandatory inspection before launch. So if you're bringing a boat into the state of Montana, a watercraft inspection is required before you put that boat in the water. And that's that extra check to make sure everything's clean, drain, and dry and protect us from the transport of aquatic invasive species. Our inspection numbers, again, we're about 125,000. We're not trying to inspect more boats. We're trying to better address risk. So if we can inspect less boats that address more risk, that's what we want to do. But the inspection stations are focused on state borders, also the Continental Divide, to try to facilitate that inspection, that mandatory inspection before launch for boaters in the state. This is similar to a graphic you saw earlier, but this one is just Montana data from one inspection station. This is Webo on the eastern Montana border. Each one of those dots is where a boat came from in 2023. This is an older graphic here, but it's similar every year, every station. We just see a lot of boats coming from a lot of places coming to and through Montana, and I think that's the case with any roadside inspection station. It is fascinating how far somebody will pull a boat into our jurisdictions, and it's also alarming because they're coming from a lot of places with aquatic invasive species that we don't have yet. This is the mussel-fouled vessels that Montana has intercepted since 2017. The red dots are where they're coming from. The blue dots are where they're going. And again, we've heard a lot of discussions a little bit earlier about the risk coming from Minnesota, Wisconsin, those areas. We see the same thing in the States. That's where those boats are coming from. Unlike the statistic on anglers coming, though, the majority of these boats are recently purchased. So they're people that go to the Great Lakes, buy a boat, sometimes sight unseen. It's in the water. They hire somebody to haul it, so they pull it out of the water, has live mussels on it, and it's in Montana the next day or 2 days later. We see that over and over again, and we do not see a whole lot of effort in the Midwest to tighten that up. We've had a lot of conversations with those folks, and it's just not high on their radar. So, if you're coming from the Great Lakes to Montana, typically you don't see a watercraft inspection station until you hit Webo in eastern Montana. It's just not all that common back that way. But we do need a clean boat benefits everybody, right? And especially if you're selling a dirty boat, you should be responsible, and getting more assistance in the Midwest to deliver that message would be outstanding. But they're busy. There's not enough resources. The problem is we're being impacted and we have to deal with this. And that's where we're going to get mussels from. I'm pretty confident at this point is if mussels show up in Montana, it's going to be one of these alien spacecraft coming from the Great Lakes that's got thousands of mussels on it that slips through our net because our inspection stations aren't open at night, and launches in the state. So fortunately, collectively, we're all working together on this issue. We're all speaking the same language. Hopefully we can continue to get things to improve and find solutions to these issues that we see out there. And then so this is where mussels are in North America, right? The stars are populations that have popped up in the last couple of years. And what we see is so Montana is my home country there, and I'm trying to hold the line, but these things are getting closer and closer. And the closer they get, the more risk I have, the more concerned I am that we're not going to be able to hold the line anymore. So our inspection stations are meant to try to keep those guys out. But collectively, working together, do the best we can to hold the line on this. Oops. So back to partnerships. This is a list of all the partners we operate with watercraft inspections in Montana. More than 3/4 of the inspections are conducted by partners in the state. We do have 4 inspection stations that are operated by state employees still, and that's because we don't have partners that are willing to take that on. For those of you that have managed inspection stations, you realize it's pain. It's a lot of work, management, supervision, seasonal staff on the side of the road, long days. It kind of sucks. Um, Fortunately, we have to distribute that labor through partnerships in local communities and have our partners help us with all that. That really, in my opinion, leads to a lot better program implementation on the ground out there. And that's what we've seen in Montana. So again, we can delegate our inspection authority. That's to governmental organizations. So we can't do that with nonprofits. We can do that with tribes, conservation districts, counties, local municipalities. We can delegate that authority that way. And also allows us to contract with those folks directly in a non-bid type of contract because we have a government organization in a local community that's in a location that we want to set up an inspection station. We can approach them, say, is this something you're interested in? And they can take that on and we don't have to go out to bid for that. It works really well. We provide funding, protocols, equipment, training, the same data system that most people in the West are using right now, or at least in the States, and quality assurance, quality control. Partners handle the day-to-day operations, management, staffing, and also assist with quality assurance, quality control at the stations. Also, as a benefit to this, so in these local communities, these folks, tribes in particular, help engage local enforcement to assist with our quality control or our compliance at stations. We get a lot of additional enforcement support because of these partnerships in these local communities, which is great. So the blue squares are watercraft inspection stations in Montana. Again, on the state borders, also on the Continental Divide, because we do have a mandatory inspection before launch requirement for boats crossing west over the Continental Divide as well. The red circles are stations that the state still manages, but the rest are all managed through partnerships, which is outstanding. This is the language in our Montana's law that allows us to do that. It says Fish, Wildlife, and Parks shall authorize a request by another entity to operate at a check station pursuant to this part if the entity agrees to the conditions of the agreement established by all parties. Any cooperative funding requirements and rules adopted under this part. Fish, Wildlife, and Parks retains oversight authority. So that gives us the ability to set standards, set protocols, and if the partner is willing to do that, then we've got an agreement. We write the check, get them out there. It's a fee for services type of agreement, although it's much more of a partnership than that. So benefits of these agreements. It really expands that local involvement and participation. These partners are able to access a labor pool that as the state, there's no way I could do that. In these local communities, there are families that are working together. Like some of these rural communities in Montana, I'm sure in all of your municipalities as well, you have a town of 100 people, and accessing a labor pool in a place like that is incredibly difficult. These partnerships allow the ability to access that. Although you do end up with families working together and all that type of thing, they're required to navigate all the nepotism, whatever in their conservation district or tribe, whatever. But it works, and it's worked really well. So the partners also assist with quality assurance, quality control, and oversight. So we get that additional layer of support through Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. We're also visiting these stations once a week, every 2 weeks, something like that. So it is a partnership and we're working together on this. It's not a big brother watching you. It's how can we work together to make this better? And that's the attitude we've really promoted out there. Through the MOUs with these partners, they have to hire a supervisor, so that helps with that oversight. We also provide consistent funding. So these conservation districts we're working with every year, we're coming back on being able to build local programs as a partnership and a long-term agreement to operate these things out there around the state. Also, one of the biggest things is I don't have to go through my human resources department. I don't know of those of you that have to work through agency human resources, but it is hard and it's challenging. If we can push that off on partners, that is a huge benefit. And I cannot understate that enough. Um, our challenges associated with these partnerships, though, maintaining consistency. So that's why we're always checking in on these stations. We provide the training, so we provide a base training, and then we come back out. We do refresher trainings about once a month as well. We stay engaged, and it's not holding their hand, but it's working together to push in the same direction to make sure things are consistent. Managing seasonal staff is always tough, so we understand that and help partners just try to do a good job out there as best we can with these seasonal folks and making sure they are doing what they are supposed to do all the time. Um, the relationships are critical because when we approach these folks for managing inspection stations, it is a partnership. It's not, we have a contract for services, but we're there with them and side by side pushing in the same direction. And it's worked really well. And I think the cost of operations is a little bit more. So we dangle a carrot in front of these folks. Uh, they take on the contract, they manage these stations, but then they have their overhead fee that is associated. So our soil and water conservation districts have a standard 10% overhead fee. So they collect that because it's a pain in the butt to manage these things. But that also is money that they can use to do whatever they want to improve their conservation district. Tribes as well, their overhead is about 18%. It's a cost of doing business. If we did an outside contractor, it would be a heck of a lot more than that. And on top of that, we also get that just local buy-in. And Confederated Salish Kootenai tribes, they operate 2 inspection stations in the northwest part of the state. Flathead Indian Reservation is in that area. Tribal Council holds those folks up as water protectors. And so it's not just a job for these folks out there. They're part of the tribe, helping protect tribal waters, tribal reservation waters. It's a good thing. It works really well. Nope. So it's worth the effort. It does take consistent communication and engagement. And again, we're there working together on these things all the time as they have issues, if they have HR problems, if they just have whatever's going on out there, we're talking. And if they're having staffing problems, we can help advise them. We cannot fire people that they operate or they manage, right? But we have a lot of experience that we can coach and give people ideas of better ways to do business out there. We do have 5 regional supervisors through my program that go around and have this direct engagement in the region with their regional inspection stations. So that helps provide that oversight and engagement. We do have annual trainings, so we bring each watercraft inspection together, train early in the year, and then we have refresher trainings throughout the year, again, to get people together, making sure quality control is there, protocols are being reinforced. And then at the end of the year, we have partner meetings. These are kind of my favorite meetings that we have all year. We bring together everybody we work with watercraft inspection. We kind of have a commiseration event where we talk about how much of a pain it is and supervising seasonal staff and all that stuff. But we're all together suffering through the same challenges. Nobody's unique. We lean on each other, and I think that relationship is something we've developed, and it's really pretty effective. And again, it's a partnership running these things. Oops, wrong button. So last slide, looking for the future. I think as these challenges, as mussels get closer and closer to the state of Montana, the role of these partnerships is going to be more and more important. We need to be working closer together than ever because the risk is getting closer. These partnerships expand our capacity. It also, so I work for the state of Montana. I can't lobby. I can't complain to my government, but these guys can. And so if there's problems, things that they see that are impacting the local communities that they would like to change, they can talk to their elected officials. And so that's leverage that helps us if we're doing a good job out there. They can help push things. Consistency. The benefits significantly outweigh the cost. So again, these guys are collecting an overhead fee associated with this project. It costs a little bit more to run these contracts through conservation districts other than being operated by the state. But when you look at our costs internally in the agency for HR, payroll, all of those things, we get a lot of bang for our buck out there. It just works really well. Yeah, and I think proactive prevention is effective is a closing statement there. Um, Holding the line, getting more people involved to help with this issue, it's incredibly effective. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. That was very interesting. Any questions from the audience?
Hey, Travis, this is John Brendan.
Hey, John, how are you?
I'm very well, and Tom did a very good job. And uh, I was a co-sponsor of the bill that started the money coming in for invasive species in Montana. And the one thing we all know, it's a real big problem. And if we can't control it, at least try to, it's going to cost us a lot of everything. And so the one thing that I think all of Penwar needs to do is step up to the program. They need to fund it very well. I farm over in northeastern Montana. There's all kinds of highways that are coming into northeastern Montana, and you can bypass the few inspection stations that we have. Brush Lake State Park would be one of them. And then you got Fort Peck Dam Reservoir, which has got 1,600 miles of lakeshore. And it's imperative that we get more funding, get more people involved, more conservation districts involved, more communities involved, because we're all in this together. And so we just need to keep asking for that from our jurisdictions and for our federal governments as well.
No, great comment, John. And I don't know why you criticize Tom so much. He's doing a heck of a good job.
I said he did a good job.
I know John Brennan very well from Montana, so just a little humor there. But you're doing a great job, Tom. But go ahead with your question.
Thanks, Tom. Margot Jarvis Redelbach, Alberta Irrigation Districts Association. I'm wondering if you can comment on enforcement support of your partner organizations who are running inspection stations, particularly related to watercraft owners bypassing or watercraft owners who may be aggressive towards those individuals at those stations.
Yes, absolutely. So enforcement, we tend to, so in Montana, it is state code. So any enforcement entity can enforce a drive-by at a watercraft inspection station, which is great. And we do get some support from Highway Patrol periodically. Most of it comes from our warden staff. So if we have a drive-by at a station, we contact a warden and then they follow up sometimes way down the road. But Montana is a big place, so it's not too hard to head them off at the pass down the line. With partners, so what we've seen is places like Powder River Conservation District in Broadus. They work with the local sheriff's department. And so if we don't have a warden in that area, we get assistance and support from their county sheriff, which is great for turning around those drive-bys. Confederate Salish and Kootenai tribes, they dedicate their tribal wardens to the station to assist with compliance at the station. So I think that station at Ravalli has the best compliance in the state because of that tribal influence and the tribal enforcement support. And that's something we don't pay for. That's something the tribe covers.
Tom Perry, I'm a resource
Just wait for the microphone so the ones online can hear us.
Yeah, hi Tom. I'm Tom Perry, Resource Conservation Manager with Prince Albert National Park. Have you guys explored the concept of a fee around inspection decontamination as opposed to state funding these organizations, but the user paying for it every time they have to go through it?
Yeah, good question. It's something it's been considered quite a bit in the past. But the thing is, we don't want to dissuade people from coming to us. And that's the big reason why inspections, decons, we'll take care of it. Just come to us. And I think this has come up earlier. You know, boaters don't know that their boats are dirty. They think they've done a good job often. And also, you know, in the Great Lakes, a clean boat is different than what we see. We wouldn't consider it clean, you know. So the definition of clean is different depending on individuals. So if they've had the boat cleaned in Minnesota, we need to take another look at it, and we're not going to charge you anything because we want to make sure you come to us.
Any further questions or anything? Well, thank you very much, Tom.